Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show.
Welcome one and all once again to another episode of the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show. I'm your host, Niall.
And I'm Nolan.
And today we're going to be discussing the latest and greatest in Tom Cruise is trying to kill himself in a most spectacular fashion.
Yeah.
That would be the newest Mission Impossible movie.
Dead Reckoning Part 1.
It's too much name.
Yeah. So even I saw where Simon Pegg was saying that he's afraid Tom Cruise is going to kill himself doing a stunt one day.
So we're going to do a spoiler-free review and then give you a spoiler warning and go more in depth into it after that. Yeah.
Yeah. It took me a while to realize where this new character was from, like where I knew her from. She's Peggy Carter.
Oh.
From the Marvel movies.
The thief?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a pretty good movie.
I enjoyed it, yeah.
So, to tell a guilty secret, I've seen the most recent 3 Mission Impossible movies. I haven't seen any before that. I actually don't know how many there have been.
I don't remember how many. I know I have seen all of them, but only once for any of them. And there was like a long time between the first one and the second, I think. The first one was like 96.
4 years, and then it looks like there was 6 years, and then 5 years, and then 4 years, and
I guess not that big a stretch. It just felt like there was a long time between the first one and the second one for some reason.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. I've seen the last four most recent. Because I know I saw Ghost... I know I've seen all the ones where they started slapping subtitles on them.
That's the fourth one and on.
Yeah. So Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, Fallout.
Yeah.
And then Dead Reckoning. Part 1.
Yeah.
So the next one's
the third
supposed to be
one
the
was,
last one, right?
Well, I don't. That's what I thought, but then like Tom Cruise is like, saying he wants to keep making them until he just physically can't anymore.
Okay.
Which could be, look, who knows how long.
As long as I keep making them, because like the last several have been all quality movies. Like as long as they don't like start slipping.
Yeah, like. I was thinking about this the other day. So the first movie had that famous like scene where he rappels into that room past all the lasers and stuff.
Yeah. And
that was parodied everywhere.
Yeah.
In the latter half of the 90s, it was like the bullet time of its time.
Yep.
Like after the Matrix came out, everyone wanted to parody bullet time.
Like the first part of the 2000s.
Yeah, and everyone was parodying that. Well, everyone parodied the Mission Impossible rappelling scene.
Yeah.
Anyway, this movie
is really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's very good. It's got an 8 point something right on IMDb right now.
I think so.
8 point. Hold on, I got it here. Don't ruin it. Don't spoil it. 8.1.
Okay.
I'd say that's pretty good. It's about right.
Yeah,
I think it's right in there. So one thing that's really fun about the Mission Impossible movies is like they're like a lot of the stuff is like kind of about politics, like world geopolitics, but they're not political per se. Yeah. Which is, it's weird to say, but like if you've seen it, I think you can know what I'm talking about. Like what's going on is important to global politics, but it's not really making. I mean, I guess it is kind of making a political statement, but it's one that like basically everyone kind of agrees with.
Yeah.
So yeah, without getting too much into the spoiler
it's
section,
not
but
delving into our current tribal politics.
Right. That's kind of what I'm getting at. It basically the political statement is, hey, this trend in AI that's going on right now, it can potentially be very scary.
Yeah.
Which I think is something pretty much everyone agrees with. So
yeah.
I mean, SAG-AFTRA definitely agrees because they just went on strike over this shit, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it's a really interesting movie, and it's cool how despite the fact the movie series has been going now for almost 30 years, right? 27 years now since the first one.
96, I think, when the first one
Yeah.
was.
So 27 years on, it still manages to be relevant though,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Well, they even reference, like, there's a character in it, this bad guy that Ethan says he, knew 30 years ago, which I guess is before the events of the first one. It's been, I've only ever seen any of them once, so I don't remember.
They kept showing that flashback, which I kind of just assumed was, like, from the first movie or something.
And it might be, I just don't remember. Like, it's been almost 30 years since I've seen it, Like, I saw it when it first came out, and that's the only time I've seen it.
Yeah.
So, I have more recent memories of playing the N64 game, which is actually a pretty good game. I think it's a kind of a hidden gem. Anyway.
But yeah, so the whole thing is revolving around this AI, and we're not going to delve too much into it because it's potentially spoilery, but just like what this AI is capable of and stuff, and it's just a matter of every country in the world is like trying to get their hands on it, and so it's powerful manipulation stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of parts of this where I leaned over to you and I was like, this feels it's weird. This movie feels like almost like a Tom Clancy movie in a lot of ways, with the story that's being told.
Yeah. It also feels like a Metal Gear Solid story.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah. So, but I think that's really cool. I think that's really neat, the way they handled that.
Yeah, and it's definitely like another globetrotting movie. I mean, they all are. They all like go all over the place, but like you want that in this sort of movie.
It reminds me of something. I don't think it's a spoiler to say, but like at one point they're in Venice, and Tom Cruise mentions that this is his first time in Venice, and I was like, or Ethan Hunt mentions this is his first time in Venice, and I was like, I find that really hard to believe.
Yeah, like none of his missions ever took him to Venice, I guess,
or even just traveling, because I mean he can basically go wherever he wants, right?
Right. I'm curious how they get paid. Like, I'm curious, like, do they just have like a monthly stipend gets put into an account from the government, or with a bonus every time they accept a mission, or
yeah, or maybe they just get paid upon completion of missions.
Yeah, maybe. It makes that choosing to accept a lot easier.
Yeah. But yeah, this was just a really good movie. Like I know a lot of people really liked that last one, Fallout.
Yeah.
That was the one with Henry Cavill, like where he reloads his arms in the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
Everyone loved that. And I mean, granted, that was a really good movie, and that fight scene in that bathroom was really good. But this one, I feel like this one had some really good like action sequences.
I was seeing a video where someone analyzed that fight scene, and they slowed it down and showed that like the urinals and stuff are all made of rubber, and like because like one guy hits his head on it and you see it like bounce back and wobble. You can't see it like when you're watching, but like in slow motion.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't rubber though. It was that sink he punches through. that had to be like foam, or like styrofoam, right?
Yeah, probably, or like pre-broken and just held together with like
hopes and dreams.
Very loose adhesive.
I feel like if he really put his mind to it, though, Henry Cavill would, because his arms were big. I mean, Henry Cavill's a pretty jacked dude, but his arms were big in that movie.
Well, you know what's crazy?
I bet he could have punched it, because that was when he was bulking to be Geralt.
Right, because he was bigger as Geralt than he was as Superman.
Yeah,
and he refused to do like take steroids or anything to like help him.
Yeah,
bulk up, because he's like, he and DC agreed that if it got out that he used steroids, it would ruin Superman's image.
Yeah. No, what was great about that mustache he had in Fallout No, because
It cost DC millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Or Marvel, or not Marvel, Warner Brothers.
Because he refused to shave it for pickup shots, and there was a lot of pickup shots in Justice League.
Well, because if he shaved it for the pickup shots, he wouldn't have it then for Mission Impossible. They were filming Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
While they're doing the pickup shots, so
so they digitally remove that mustache, and it's really obvious.
It's pretty bad.
It's really bad.
His upper lip looks so weird.
No, I haven't seen the Snyder cut where like apparently just everything is darker, so maybe it hides it more.
Yeah.
But that movie was so bad I didn't care to see the Snyder cut. But anyway, just like the Mission Impossible movies have just been like really solid. I kind of feel like I should go back and watch the first 3 because apparently I've seen more than half of them now. This is number 7.
Yeah. I know. I've seen them all. I don't remember 3 all that well. I just know 3 was the one that was directed by man, I can't remember his name now. Force Awakens and Star Trek, the reboot Star Trek.
Oh, J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams, yeah, that was the one J.J. Abrams directed. I think it was 3 because the second one was John Woo. Or something. Anyway.
Were there a lot of pigeons involved?
Yes, there were actually.
Okay, so yeah, that would make sense.
The final scene was like in some bunker or something, like the final like act or something. It was like in this bunker and there's like pigeons flying around everywhere. Anyway. Unless I'm mixing them up, but that could be true either. Anyway, yeah, I mean, especially if you liked Mission Impossible, obviously you've probably already seen it by the time we've recorded this. But
what's Mission Impossible like? They're cool spy movies, but they're more ridiculous than the Daniel Craig Bond movies, but somehow less. But then also like less ridiculous than like the Pierce Brosnan Bond movies.
Yeah, other than GoldenEye. Which is a lot more grounded.
Yeah, that was a different like that was.
Yeah,
the director only directed the one, right?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that was also. I want to say Timothy Dalton was supposed to be, and then he had to like back out, and that's when they cast Pierce Brosnan. I could be. I think I heard that somewhere.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Would you say that's fair to say though? Like.
Oh yeah,
less ridiculous than Pierce Brosnan, but more ridiculous than Daniel Craig.
Less ridiculous than those like last 3 Pierce Brosnan ones, but more ridiculous. Daniel Craig was the most grounded out of all of them.
Yeah.
And what's funny is like you look at like the novels apparently were super ridiculous. I was watching something about Dr. No on YouTube the other day, and like in the novel, like he fought a giant squid. Or something and that was cut out of the movie, but
yeah, but what I was gonna bring up about that though is that that last Bond movie was the last couple Bond movies they were too grounded. They weren't fun.
No, they weren't.
They were kind of boring movies.
So out of all the ones with Daniel Craig, and I like Daniel Craig as Bond.
Daniel
a lot.
Craig was not the problem with those.
He was. Casino Royale is the only one I've watched multiple times.
I saw that last one multiple times because I took my wife, who was at the time my girlfriend, on a date. We went to see that.
And then you and I went to see it.
And then you and I went to see it. That's the only reason I've seen that more than once. I would not have chosen to see that movie again.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, like... Yeah, they weren't... overall, they're not real fun movies compared to the older Bond movies.
Yeah.
And the Mission Impossible movies are fun.
Yeah, they scratched that itch.
Right. And what's funny is like the... you talk about like the ridiculous... The mask technology. They're always like pulling these masks off all the way since the first of them. And I assume that's like dates back to the TV series.
Yeah.
Too, which I've never seen. It's long before my time. But there's like this... In this movie, there's this guy that's like trying to track down Ethan Hunt, and he like every time he like finds someone he thinks might be him, he's like grabs his face and tries to pull a mask off.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
This is like running gag in the movie.
I saw something. I saw a TikTok the other day about how they pulled off, because in in the last one, I think it's the last one. There's a scene where they have a character like the camera's like panning around this character while they're putting the mask on and like tucking it in under the collar and everything, and then they're like touching it, and like you see them like in the mirror as they're putting it on, and the way they pull that off is there isn't a mirror, they just have the other actor there like mimicking the movements of the first person.
Yeah.
And when you know that and you're looking for it, you can see their hand movements are not the same.
Interesting. Yeah, I've seen like other like things where they've found like actors who had like a twin or something, and they need some trick in the mirror, or they wanted to like have an over-the-shoulder shot at a mirror.
Yeah.
And they find either like the actor has a twin, or they get like someone who looks close enough from behind, and they have just a person like acting like they're in a mirror, but it's just a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this they do a lot of like clever camera tricks where you can tell like here's someone putting on the mask, and it sort of like pans away, and then the other actor like steps into frame or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this movie has our recommendations. So let's move on to the spoiler section.
Spoiler section. So the what was it I said? There's something I mentioned earlier that I was like, oh, we'll talk about that more in the spoiler section.
I think you're just talking about the nature of the AI, maybe, or what they're after, the MacGuffin.
Well, yeah. So they're after this AI that was. So they like. It turns out the U.S. government created this AI that's supposed to be like this incredibly capable AI. It can like infiltrate any system and do whatever it needs to do and then destroy itself. But it can also like permeate the internet and control control public perception of the truth, and things like that. Which, as you know, anyone who is alive today and not living under a rock can tell you, something that is a very powerful thing. Like, being able to control what the public perceives as the truth would be incredibly powerful. So it, this AI, like, infiltrated this Russian sub, though, right? Or they sent it to the sub, and it went
right.
rogue.
Well, they sent it to the sub because the Russians were testing a method to make their subs stealthy that also used an AI to do it, and so they got their AI to infiltrate the Russian sub, and the AI went rogue, and it sank the sub basically to protect itself because its source code was aboard the sub, and then it could, without that you couldn't ultimately stop the AI because it's permeated everything.
Yeah.
And so it's locked away in this chamber in the submarine that's at the bottom of the ocean under the Arctic Circle, and you need 2 parts of a key to open the door, and these keys were on like the sub's captain and his first officer or something, and then they've disappeared. So now everyone's trying to find
probably the captain and the political officer.
Okay, the captain and the political officer then.
I would guess.
I guess they still have those.
From what I understand, they do still have political officers on their subs.
So the captain and the political officer then. And so now everyone's after these keys. Nobody knows what the keys are for, just that they're tied to the AI in some way, and everyone wants them.
It felt really weird because, like, the whole movie, all the characters are like, oh, we don't know what they unlock. And, like, you as the audience know what they unlock because they show you at the beginning.
Right, but nobody has any idea that the AI is on the wreckage of the submarine.
Right. Yeah, but it felt weird because, like, everyone's like, it's somehow used to control the AI, or that somehow the theory, like, they bring up the theory that, like, oh, somehow we think it's tied to being able to control the AI.
But
and whatever. I'm like, it seems like it's pretty obvious the keys just open up however the AI is being stored.
Yeah, but it could have been maybe you stick this key into a particular console and then you have access to the AI's code that way. You don't necessarily know if it's a door or what.
Well, I mean,
it's a door, but
I mean, sure,
don't know.
yeah. Like people didn't know like that it was a physical door, but like it seemed pretty obvious that it was necessary to access this, like the source code for this AI.
Right, but also
like
like basically no one in the movie has any idea that it's that the AI is inside this chamber aboard the sub wreckage at the bottom of the ocean. So that's the other thing is like, okay, we have the keys, and now because like part of the mission is to get the two parts of the key, but also find out what they unlock, and by what they unlock is where to unlock it. So the other thing is, you kept bringing this up. They kept referring to the AI as the entity.
Well, they kept referring to this like rogue version of the AI as the entity. And I was like, they need to come up with a different name for this thing. It's so tedious.
It also feels like an alien being.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's somehow alive or something.
I mean,
so it was that was a little.
And like
weird.
you know how people are in reality, someone would have named it like HAL 9000 or something.
Yeah.
Like it's just like the way people are, they would have named it.
Yeah.
You can't just keep calling it the entity. It's so just every time by the time we're like halfway through the movie, it was like, "Oh my gosh, can we call it something else already?" I'm trying to think though, like what it was specific. I thought there was something specific I mentioned earlier. It was like we'll talk about that in the spoiler section.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I didn't mention this earlier, but something that bugged the shit out of me in the last act of the movie, the train.
Oh,
There's the Orient Express is where the deal is going down for selling the keys to the buyer, who turns out to be the guy, the CIA director, who's Ethan Hunt's boss. And so like the guy who's like the actual like main bad guy in the movie, he gets onto the train and he like kills the engineers and like locks the engine off so no one can get up to it, and breaks off the speed control
in the brake,
so the train's going to be like a runaway train, because his whole intention is to get off the train with the key, and then the train, they blow up a bridge and the train derails. Okay, except that I'm sitting there going like, no one has been putting coal in the furnace of this coal-fired train for 20 minutes now.
Yeah, this is not a diesel electric train.
Like, yeah, I'm like, those things are very coal hungry.
Right, and so yeah, it's going. It just keeps going, and it's picking up speed or whatever, going uphill, or at least maintaining the same speed going uphill.
Yeah,
the whole time. But like, yeah, no one's been fueling the thing.
Yeah, that bothered me. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, it bothered Mom too. She was like,
"Oh yeah." At some point, she was like, "Yeah, who's been shoveling coal in this thing?" I was like, so like if Mom, like I'm an engineer, it's so like I see something like that and it bothers me. Like if Mom noticed,
well, Mom was in logistics. She understands fuel for vehicles and stuff.
That's true, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's what's weird is like I could forgive a lot of the other stuff that's like established to be in the rules of this universe, like the high tech crazy stuff and the face masks and all that. But that bothered me.
See, yeah, I would have written it just to have a minion of what's his name, Gabriel, just there shoveling coal the whole time.
Right. Or like just yeah, he gets on and yeah, a minion of his is just driving the train now. And like they got to get up to the front, and rather than get up to the front and oh no, the brakes are busted, cuz like that didn't really end up being a big deal. Ultimately, like they figured out a solution to that problem pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Had someone up there that like they got to fight now or something, you know.
Yeah.
Or like that they get up there and to fight someone, and in the process of the fight the brake handle breaks off.
Yeah, something.
I would have had something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, that is a plot hole there with the with the coal. Let's see. Any other?
And I mean, a pretty decent chunk of time seems to have passed while he's on that train because he's driving on that. Tom Cruise is driving on that motorcycle through the mountains like a while.
Yeah,
trying to catch up to
I
the
mean, it was
train.
the whole third act was on that train.
Yeah.
So yeah, it took a while. It wasn't like a few minutes. That's for sure. Anyway, you got anything? Is there anything else to spoil in this that we want to talk about?
No, I think that's all I had.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
train thing was really like the only thing that bothered me about the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, the thief is like really insufferable for the first half of the movie.
Yeah, she's just
What was her name?
Grace.
Grace. Oh god, she's so annoying the first like half of the movie.
She's
Like-
very much a shoot, what's the word I'm looking for? A stereotype, I guess. There's just like, or an archetype. That's the word I'm looking for. An archetype. She's like that annoying, anti-hero foil to the good guy that he's just always one step ahead or manages to slip away all the time.
Like the thing that got me was like, okay, I understand her like at the beginning in Abu Dhabi, like, like getting away from Ethan and like trying to escape him or whatever. But like once she realized that like there were some really bad dudes with guns after them, like willing to do anything to get that thing, I would have
And
been.
he saved her life.
And he's like actively protecting her. I would have been like, okay, yes, let's do what you have to say.
Yeah.
Like, once she realized she was in way over her head, and the fact that she kept up the same antics was really annoying.
Yeah, and despite what Ving Rhames' character Luther said to her, it is her fault that Ilsa dies.
Yes. Yes, it is.
So, big spoiler. Rebecca Ferguson's character, Ilsa,
Yep.
is dead, and it is her fault. And despite, Luther telling her that it's not. Just thought I'd put that out there.
Yep.
So,
Fuck her.
yeah.
Yep, no. I think... Got anything else? We done?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. What do we got coming up? Oppenheimer. That's our next movie.
That is our next movie.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And then...
3 hour movie.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man. So there's nowhere in town that's showing the IMAX 75 millimeter or a 70 millimeter.
Is there even one of those theaters in town?
So rumor has it
I thought the one had...
that the one at the Palms has a IMAX film projector.
I thought the... what was that? The Rave or whatever? I thought they had one.
No, I think they have an IMAX digital
Oh,
projector,
okay.
like Aliante and Red Rock.
Yeah.
So we're seeing it on a large format screen, but it's Cinemark's large format screen, so it's like Wish.com IMAX.
Yeah, remember the ads with like a unicorn?
That's so weird, man. We saw something there a few months ago that was like, because it was just, it was something that like we didn't care about seeing in like a large format, but it was just that was the only convenient showtime for us. I don't remember what it was. I
It
guess
wasn't Indiana Jones, was it?
No. In the case of Oppenheimer, it is a movie I would like. It's not a movie that I absolutely had to see in a large format screen, but it's definitely a movie that like I'm happy we're seeing in a large format.
I'm trying to figure out what movies would even be on that in that screening room. Ant-Man, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe John Wick. Or Guardians of the
It
Galaxy.
wasn't John Wick. I know that.
Or Guardians or Fast 10.
It wasn't Fast. It was longer ago than those. So maybe Ant-Man.
Might have been Ant-Man. I can't. Yeah, I don't know what else it would have been.
But certain movies, like whenever Furiosa comes out, we're seeing that in IMAX.
Oh man, I'm excited for that.
And
I'm excited I'm excited for Motorcycle Chariots.
Yeah, we'll probably see Dune too in IMAX.
That'll be cool.
Or some, at least Cinemark's. What do they call it? XD.
XD.
And if they ever do another Tron movie that they've delayed multiple times.
Well, I'm looking at the Haunted Mansion cast and Jared Leto's in it, and he's supposedly he's attached and producing
the new Tron movie.
A new Tron movie, but that was a while back, and who knows? Disney's canceled and changed so much stuff lately because they're hemorrhaging money.
Here's the thing, though: if they just made a Tron movie that was just a fun, silly action sci-fi movie, I think at this point people would applaud it. The bar is set so low for them; it would not take. If they released another Tron Legacy, that kind of movie today, people would love it just because it's back to just being a purely entertainment situation.
The problem I see with a new Tron movie is how do you continue that story without using any of the cast from Tron Legacy?
Yeah, Olivia Wilde is not going to be in another
She's not going to be in another Tron movie. I mean, Jeff Bridges might be up for it, but...
He would probably be up for it, but he's aged a lot.
Yeah. I think the best thing would be to have one just set in between the two.
Yeah.
Might be the best option. But then Jeff Bridges would have been in there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Or you set it so far distant, I don't know.
It's, it could be the kid of, what's his name? Sam and Olivia Wilde's character.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I guess.
But anyway, yeah, so back to what we were getting at, though, is large format screens. There's certain things that's this is obviously something that would appreciate the large format screen, and then there's a lot of stuff that just, why bother?
See, and I think Oppenheimer would very much make use of that 75 millimeter, unlike Hateful Eight, which I think that's wasted on a movie like that, which is almost entirely interior.
So apparently part of the reason why Christopher Nolan insisted on IMAX film is because the aspect ratio is closer to the original aspect ratio of CRT TVs.
Okay.
It's 1.43 to 1 or something like that. It is the IMAX ratio or something, and then the CRT TVs are 1.3 to 1.
3 to 4. I don't know how it breaks down further.
Well, it's 4 to 3, so that would be 1.3 to 1. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I mean, that's what I saw something about that. I was like, I mean, that might be the case. That's why it's
because he wants to mimic the footage that existed,
I guess,
or how people would have viewed it.
I know you were telling me Kodak had to make special black and white film for the movie,
right? Because Kodak didn't make IMAX film in black and white.
Right. Why would you?
Right. And because there are black and white scenes in the movie. So, yeah.
From what I've seen too, is the black and white scenes in the movie look like they probably could have been shot in black and white and then just could have been shot with regular black and white film, because they don't look like big IMAX worthy scenes, because it looks like it's congressional hearings and stuff.
Yeah, but then I mean, I guess
we'll find out for sure. But
you're gonna be changing
just by the previews.
Yeah, but then you would change aspect ratio, or you change resolution in the middle of it. It might look weird.
Yeah.
To only shoot part of it in IMAX or whatever.
Christopher Nolan's at a point. You equated him to Spielberg last night, because he's just at a point where he could just demand whatever ridiculous shit the studio is just going to give it to him.
Yeah.
Would you say Christopher Nolan is like the current Spielberg in that way?
In that way, yeah. Stylistically, obviously, he's not.
Right, but he's like. Would you say that he's like the biggest? Him and like maybe Ridley Scott.
Maybe Ridley Scott's had a bunch of flops though.
That's true.
Like The Last Duel did not do well,
which is too bad because we enjoyed that movie. Go check out a review of that.
Yeah, that was a while back. But yeah, Last Duel is a very slow movie. It's definitely not for everyone. It doesn't have as much. I think The Last Duel has less mass appeal than Oppenheimer, which I'm curious if it's because people seem to want to see it, but I'm curious how much of it is they're interested in that story or they're interested in a Christopher Nolan movie.
For me, it's both. I mean, I like Christopher Nolan
especially
movies.
A Christopher Nolan movie, you might be able to follow the plot too.
Well, I mean,
because he kind of vacillates between too cerebral and then like much more grounded. You know what I mean?
Somehow Batman was a grounded Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of it is just like, oh, it's Christopher Nolan and Cillian Murphy and Matt Damon, so I'm gonna go see it. Versus, like for me, it's like I definitely I want to see it because it's Christopher Nolan. But for me, it's everything to do with the nuclear age and development of nuclear technology is so fascinating to me, and I eat that shit up. So like obviously I was gonna go see this movie. When I saw the trailer when I saw the poster, the first teaser poster in the theater like a year and a half ago, I just saw it said Oppenheimer and I was like, we're seeing it. Oh, It's a Christopher Nolan movie, even better.
Right.
Like I remember distinctly just seeing it says Oppenheimer and I was like, well, we're definitely seeing that. And then when we got closer, you could see it says like directed by Christopher Nolan, and I was like, well, okay then. Anyway,
moving on. We're seeing Haunted Mansion after that.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to take Mom to see that.
I'm kind of interested in it.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
I like the cast. Winona Ryder, and it's got let's see who's directing that. I don't know. So Danny DeVito and
it's got Owen Wilson.
Yeah, he's on the poster.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've seen nothing about this movie. I didn't even realize it was coming out until like a week ago.
So I didn't realize it was coming out until I saw the poster more than a month ago. But I've seen the trailer a few times.
Yeah, I haven't seen the trailer. I haven't seen really any ads for it. Like, because I was just like, I'm not really interested. If it weren't for the fact that we were taking Mom to see it, I probably wouldn't bother.
I think at this point, Disney's just like not interested in spending a lot of money on marketing for anything.
Here's the thing: if this movie is just like a dumb, fun, entertaining movie, and it just kills at the box office, oh man! Like they're already starting to make changes at Disney.
Maybe this
is the kick in the pants they need.
Maybe that's why they haven't been promoting it, because it doesn't have any messaging.
Or it doesn't seem to.
And so they don't want it to succeed as much. They want it to do worse than the movies that they've put out recently. That
it could literally not do worse than Little Mermaid. There's no way.
Or Elemental failed hard too.
Yeah.
So, but I wonder if that was like, they're like, oh, there's no messaging. We don't want it to do as well as those movies, which did poorly. So anyway, I'm interested in seeing it. This Ninja Turtles movie, I know you don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, the art style looks really neat, and it looks fun. There's some funny jokes in the trailer. So, who knows? What do you think of the Meg 2?
I didn't see Meg 1.
I didn't either.
And it's like, it doesn't look like quite to the right level of cheesiness for the kind of movie they're obviously trying to make it be. They're trying to make it like it's not to the Sharknado level. And it kind of needs to be. No, but it does
have Jason Statham on a jet ski throwing harpoons at this thing while riding a tidal wave.
Yeah, but I mean, it kind of needs to be like a Sharknado level.
I mean, that just might be the trailer is.
Yeah. I knew they were making the movie. I'd seen posters, but I saw a trailer for the first time yesterday when we went to see the movie.
Yeah, the same. I knew it was coming. I just hadn't seen anything about it.
So like, we're not seeing Gran Turismo, right? That movie looks boring as hell.
Maybe. I don't know. There's gonna be some gaps here, though.
I know.
Equalizer 3. We don't want to see that.
What sucks is in a couple of years there's going to be gaps for this writer strike and now this actor strike.
Yeah.
You know what happened last time there was a writer strike, people?
Skyfall? Or no? Was it Skyfall?
Yeah, it was Skyfall. But no, what I was going to say is the explosion of reality TV.
Oh, yeah. You know what was worse than Skyfall? What was the Quantum of Solace was so boring. That was a snore fest.
I fell asleep in that movie
I'm like,
twice. I saw the movie in theater twice. I lied. I did see more than...
I should not be bored by a James Bond movie.
I did see. Yeah, back to the last several Bond movies being boring.
Yeah.
Quantum of Solace, I do remember now because I went to see it at midnight with my friends from school when I was in college at the time, and then you and I went to see it later, and I fell asleep both times for like the same chunk of the movie.
So this in end of September we got The Creator. We saw the trailer for that.
Yeah,
it's that sci-fi
cool.
movie.
Like
That looks cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks really neat. It's like space opera-y, but not.
Also a little cyberpunk-y.
Yeah, it's like space opera-y in its
It looks
story, but it's all set on Earth.
Yeah, and it looks like it's definitely like influenced by like kind of like 80s anime.
Yeah,
And a little bit of like it has like a
because it's
like a Mobius overlay on it, and
yeah, because there's parts of it that have like Iria vibes
yeah,
and like Akira vibes.
right. And then it also looks like it has some like as far as art style goes, a little bit of Mobius vibes.
Yeah,
So that movie looks interesting. It's got John David Washington in it, and Ken Watanabe, and Sturgill Simpson.
like in the movie,
Yeah, as a character named Drew.
he's not like.
I mean, he might be playing the guitar and singing for all I know.
I wonder
but,
if he did any music for the movie.
yeah.
Which, by the way, what's funny to
Oh
me
yeah,
is
and
like,
it's a Gareth Edwards.
Sturgill Simpson was not on my radar as a person who existed until what was that movie with Adam Driver?
The
Dead Don't Die. Until that movie came out, like I could not like it was not a name I had heard before.
Any more than you or I. Yeah, I was the same way, but then I like became a fan after like listening to that. Then like go and like.
Did you watch that?
Oh, I started
music video
to.
movie on
I
Netflix?
started
That is
to. I didn't
weird.
finish
It's
it.
really interesting because like you can tell like there's a lot. Speaking of 80s anime, there's a lot of 80s anime like vibes in that thing as well.
Yeah, I saw like an interview. I think it was on like Joe
like
Rogan or
80s
something, and he was
90s
talking
anime.
about like doing that.
It's so weird though. It's such a
Yeah.
bizarre thing.
Yeah,
It's like a 90-minute long series of music videos. Basically, it's like Moonraker.
Moonwalker. Moonraker's a James Bond movie.
movie. You back to, dude. Sorry, I got Bond on the mind.
Yeah, but it tells like one complete story in just music videos, so it's closer to Interstellar 5555.
Back to 90s anime references.
Yeah,
Or was that was early 2000s? I think
I guess.
because I think Discovery came out in 99.
Yeah, that's something I recommend
I think.
people watching. Is that Daft Punk
Yeah,
movie essentially, but it's just a series of music videos that are all animated. But it does tell one cohesive story. Then we got Dune Part 2.
May your blade chip and shatter. That'll be cool. We're taking Dad to see that, I assume.
Yeah, he wants to see it. Mom doesn't care.
Yeah, I didn't figure Mom gave a shit about that.
I think she went with us for the first one, but she doesn't care to see the second
Yeah.
one.
It's so funny to me how, like, growing up, like, it's so funny to me how Dad was always, like, really into, like, Westerns you know, like he liked Star Wars and Indiana Jones, but like he was really big into westerns and like World War II, like those like 60s era World War II movies, like In Harm's Way and stuff.
He watched In Harm's Way all the time.
And like biblical epics like Ben-Hur and the Ten Commandments, things like that. But my God, did he love the Dune movie with Sting? Holy, and it's so weird because I'm like, this is like the biggest nerd fest of a movie, and I don't like it at all.
I love the art direction in that movie. As someone who's like read the original book, it's lacking in a lot of places, but I think the art direction is.
I listened to the book. I didn't read it, but I listened to it.
The art direction is great, and it's very Warhammer 40K.
Right. Well,
in its art direction.
Original Warhammer 40K is very Dune. And
it stole a lot from Dune.
Story, so. Yeah,
it stole a lot from Dune. But like, there was this full circle thing, and then the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then just like Patrick Stewart carrying a pug into battle, like.
No, the best part is how they wound up with Patrick Stewart in the movie.
Oh yeah, they cast him and thought he was someone else. And when he showed up, it was too late to do anything about it.
Yeah. What's funny is like Patrick Stewart, this like classically trained stage actor, is just like, this seems neat. This like chintzy, cheesy sci-fi.
Well, because he's looking at it like, oh, they're gonna pay me, and I get to like go spend time in Mexico because it was all shot in like around Mexico City.
Yeah.
And I was watching something on YouTube lately, some cooking channel, and he had fell in love with some like Mexican dish while filming that movie, and he just like, I forget what dish it was, but he just loves this particular dish.
Yeah.
And like he was like making it on on this.
That's funny.
On this channel.
So are we seeing the Hunger Games prequel?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it looks better than the Hunger Games movies did.
And again, that's a movie where its art direction carries it through.
Yeah. I
think, at least for this one. The other ones were but this one, just judging from the trailer, looks really neat.
Art Deco is great. I love Art Deco.
Yeah. And then we got Napoleon.
That movie looks really good too. I'm really excited for that movie. Is there a length on that yet?
Napoleon, 2 hours and 38 minutes.
I feel like that's a movie that could stand to be 3 hours.
I mean, I could see where there is probably a much longer cut.
I mean, and the thing is, like, Ridley Scott can get away with making a 3 hour movie. No one's going to stop him.
Right, but like I said, he's had some flops.
That's true, but he's still Ridley Scott.
But if he were to make, like, apparently he's making a sequel to Gladiator, and I'm sure because the sequel to Gladiator, the studio is going to throw money at him.
Yeah.
For that. So anyway, I think it's about time to wrap that. Oh, did I tell you this Wonka movie, which I had like no interest in, but I saw a clip with Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa, and I'm like, okay, now I want to see it.
Because help himself.
Well, this clip, he's like about to like start singing, and he like pulls out the flute and plays, and he's about to like get ready, and then like Timothy Chalamet's Wonka's like, oh, there's no need for that. Like, too late. I've already started dancing.
Yeah, so I've seen some like some clips, like a teaser trailer or something on TikTok.
Okay.
But I don't know how. Yeah, like I don't think it's I don't think I've seen that clip.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I feel like I would recall that.
Probably.
I think I would recall saying Hugh Grant is an Oompa Loompa. Like, so do they shoot it so he's like looks like a little person?
Yes.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Why?
I don't know. Somehow it feels weird.
I think it's done digitally though, judged by the shot, and not like forced perspective.
But and not like what was that movie? The guy whose whole family are little people.
Oh yeah. God, what was that movie? and it was like, Gary Oldman, I think, was playing like a little person, and he's like on his knees, like obviously on his knees.
Yeah.
I don't remember what that movie was.
So I was just looking at Hugh Grant on IMDb here, and he has a number of soundtrack credits for movies.
Okay, he's probably sung some songs.
Yeah. Anyway. So, yeah, that's what we got coming up. So, if hearing us ramble on and on about that and, like, the James Bond sounds of interest to you, come back and check out those reviews. Also, go check out our other reviews. We've done a bunch. Hundreds, apparently. Like, what are we... This is, like...
This will be like 200
something?
This will be 213.
Wow. So yeah, check out those reviews. What was our last review, Nolan? Oh, you're
Indiana
cheating.
Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
You got the folder up. You're cheating.
Yeah, well, you'd asked me a question regarding it. So Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah, so go check that out. And yeah, come back. Well, our Oppenheimer review is gonna be a wee bit late, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, but yeah, come back, check out that, because that's our next review, and we're going to review the hell out of that movie, and probably have a lot to say about it, because I am pretty well read up on the Manhattan Project. Like I said, I find it very fascinating, so I'm sure I'm going to have a lot to say about it. So, yeah, and until next time, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Toodles.